Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Good afternoon. Today is January 29th, 2024. This is a Monday. I want to thank everybody for joining today. My name is Donald Welch. I'm the author of the book, The Love I Thought I Knew. And I wanted to do a little recapping on what we went on over last week, during my sessions. And we got on the subject about love and, the meaning of love and what is love to each and every one of us. The one thing I've always said, that when it comes to love, you got to think about the category of what type of love you're talking about. Are you talking about unconditional love, or are you talking about, professional or personal love? And to just kind of recap and break some of those down, we was talking about, we got heavy on the unconditional love. The one thing that we always say, that in order to love, you got to be able to love yourself. Let's see. Yeah, I did have a great weekend. Thanks a lot, Timmy. So one of the things we wanted to hit on, especially when it comes to love, is people having a true understanding, and everything that comes to the understanding, that comes to the understanding of love for yourself, loving others, and just love in general. Okay. Now, like I said, from the beginning, you got to start off with loving yourself. If you can love yourself, then the love that comes after that becomes somewhat easy. And what I mean by that is, if you can't love yourself, then trying to love somebody else is not going to be an easy task, because you got to first try to distinguish that. How can you really love somebody? How can you honestly say that you do love them if you can't even love yourself? So if you're not even sure enough of loving yourself, then you're definitely not going to be sure of loving another individual. And you want to make sure that, for one, you do understand that, because the other individual that that you may be dealing with, they're going to probably feel some type of way, or no telling what type of vibe they're going to get from you. Let's see. Good day from Ethan. Good day. I think my first time here. Yeah, I think this is your first time, Ethan. Welcome. I appreciate you chiming in. Like I said, we was going over some of the things last week, but since you chimed in, Ethan, like I said, I'm the author of The Love I Thought I Knew, just to kind of give you an idea what the front of the book looked like. So that's it right there. This is the book we've been promoting. I have 6 other book titles, but pretty much The Love I Thought I Knew, that was the one that we heavily got on. And I can briefly go over some of my other books as well, and the difference between all the books. In some way, shape, or form, the message behind each one of the books has some relevance of something that I've either, one, myself have encountered, or two, I've encountered by just being around, some of my colleagues, and specifically in The Love I Thought I Knew, this was more or less, I could say dedicated to one of my colleagues, is, you know, we was discussing this, and, you know, this individual had an idea where I was going when I wrote this book. So, and, you know, like I said, he shared with me that this is a story that, one, that needs to be shared with people, because, you know, like I said, you have people that's going through things, and, you know, you never know what people are going through. And maybe the story that you put out there may just touch them to the point where they got the answers that they needed. Let's see. Mag, ending my day with this interesting live session. Good day. Good day, Mag. Thanks a lot for joining. And hopefully you had a blessed weekend. You know, my weekend was pretty good. I had my Author of the Hour interview Sunday. It was from 3:30 to 4:30. And, you know, I had the moderator. She was going over some of the hashtags and some of the fun questions, some of the, you know, key author questions. And I really enjoyed myself. I was glad that I was able to share, you know, some of my story. You know, I was able to answer some of the questions that people were asking, you know, and I know I had one question where in the actual title, The Love I Thought I Knew, you know, I was asked, you know, was there a love that I thought I knew? And the one thing about that is, you know, in some way, shape, or form, we've all had a love that we thought we knew. And what I did is I expressed the love that I thought I knew was, you know, I was very young. So, you know, when you're young, you may not have those plans where you can say, you know, this is the person I can be with the rest of my life, because again, we're young, we're still learning who we are as individuals. And when you think you in love, you know, it can just be one of them things that you go through when you're young, and you say, as you get older, you'll learn. So sometimes, you know, you look back when, you know, when you was a kid, you can go back to, you know, down memory lane and say, you know, what would have happened if this would have took place, or if this would have took off? You know, these are things that you never knew. But at the same time, when you're going through those things when you're young, that's just part of life experience in itself. Okay, comment from Anna. Hi, Donna. What for your elements of unconditional love? Okay, like one of the things I talked about before in the sessions that we had, you know, as far as unconditional love, you got to have, like I said, an understanding of love for yourself. Communication plays a big part in any type of love or any level of love that you're trying to, you know, encounter. So like I say, when it comes to unconditional love, being able to talk to the individual, being able to, you know, relate to the individual that you're in love with, or as you can say, that we share the unconditional love, because unconditional love to me is an unlimited amount of love that you have, that there's no end to it. You know, it's just to me, it's everlasting. That's part of a definition that I would call unconditional love. Anybody that, you know, that can just make you feel good when you think about them, make you feel good when you see them, you know, keeps a smile on your face. That's, you know, that's a form of unconditional love, because that person is your world, you know. And then when you got somebody that's your world, somebody comes and they try to interrupt that, you want to do everything within your power to protect that, because that's an interest of yours. That's an interest that keeps you going. Because when we're talking about unconditional love, people look forward to that. I mean, like I said, some forms of unconditional love is something as simple as hugging, holding each other, holding hands, you know, a gentle kiss, you know, just the fact that you could pick up their phone and say, hey, how was your day? You know, or when you see the person when they come in from work or wherever they may be coming in from, you know, how was your day? You know, is there anything that I can get you? The constant attention that you're giving to that individual is also a form of unconditional love, because you're showing, you know, your caring side, and you're letting that person know, no matter what you're going through, I'm here for you. So, but what I wanted to do was, like I said, with the book, The Love I Thought I Knew, you know, I kind of breezed through it, you know, pretty much, and you know, I won't really get too heavy into it, because I know I talked a lot, you know, quite much about it last week. Was, like I said, you know, pretty much a quick breakdown. Man that's in love with his wife. He was going through obstacles. You know, wife was insecure, and her thing was, it was always a challenge for him, and it was a challenge for her. It was a bigger challenge for him, because he was given 100% plus, where he wasn't getting the same in return. And we got to talking about, you know, when it comes to tipping that scale, where it's like, love is hard work. So, you know, you have the 70-30, you got 70% is going to be of hard work. 30% is going to be of that sunshine. And like we were saying before, we want to try to tip that scale the opposite way. So as much as he tried to tip the scale the opposite way, throughout the story, as we come close to the end, the more he tried to tip that scale, the scale was just too heavy on one end. So he never really got a chance to go past 70-30. I mean, it was times within the story that it went 80-20 or even 90-10. And I think what it was, even when he got to the point where it was like, say, 100-0, that's when he got his rude awakening. So now you got somebody that was given all this unconditional love that now, he has to go back through that cycle of trying to love himself because he think that he's let somebody down. He's let himself down. Now he's starting to second guess himself because he figured he did everything he can to try to get the unconditional love in return from his wife. Well, when it was all said and done, his wife looked for, I wouldn't call it unconditional love, but she looked for the attention or the love elsewhere as, he was putting all the effort into trying to make their marriage work. Well, even though he never lost his cool or changed his character, he still loved her, but at the same time, there was indiscretions where, he had to let go. Now, just the fact that, yes, you can let go, but you don't really turn the switch off just that quick because you still have that level of love still there. Okay. Let's see. Comment from Carmen. Agree with Donna. Communication is always essential in any relationship. Yes, it is, because now when you can communicate, that means you can really open up and talk to the individual. You don't want to sit here and play the guessing game and try to read anybody's mind. I don't ever recommend somebody trying to read somebody's mind. It's one thing when you know the person and when you're in tune with the person, you can pretty much, you can know the likes, you can know the dislikes, you can know what this person may want to eat, can know what this person is feeling because you've been in a relationship to a point where you know the look or you know the body language or it's just something that person is going to give off to you to let you know what it is either that person need, what that person is trying to say. And they don't even have to open their mouth for you to even know what they're thinking or what they're saying because you've been in tune with them. Now, there are some cases where you could think that you could be totally in tune with somebody, then all of a sudden something changes. Now, let's just say you've been with somebody 10 years, their routine, they get to the point that they become predictable. And, even though they're predictable, their way, they're happy. So you get used to that. And then here it is, you reach the 11th year, then all of a sudden you got to change. Now you got a whole routine change. Now the person that's, so in tune with that person, all of a sudden you just took them out of tune. Okay. Now you got to get them back, back in order. They all out of whack because 10 years of knowing them, then you reach the 11th year. Now it's like, this is a new person. Okay. Now, the one thing I am a firm believer in, and I've seen this on a movie. I can't remember exactly what it is right offhand, but they say you could be with a person and they renew their vows, and it's not a set time that you renew your vows. When you're renewing your vows, what you're doing is you're marrying a person all over again, but are you marrying the same person that you married when you first married them? That's key. That's key because it also comes along with, is your communication the same? Have your communication got stronger? Have your communication lacked? Or, when you held hands before, do y'all still hold hands? So you ask those questions. Are you still doing the same thing 10 to 20 years from now that you were doing when you first met? Now, I've heard the saying, and I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard the saying, you get married, you've been married with somebody or been married to somebody for so long, people just develop a habit or they just develop a routine or they just develop that's just the way they are, And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not a perfect world. So sometimes we accept that that's just the way they are or they don't want to be bothered. Whereas, 10, 20 years ago, they were very spunky, they were upbeat, they were, but like I said, as you get older, some people do tend to, you can say get in their ways. Okay? So it happens, it happens. That's just that's just part of life. So that's, I can't really say that's one thing that you can really avoid, but the only thing you can always do, you can always put your best foot forward. And and you want to aim for, growth and progression, because like I said again, relationships in itself is already hard work, because not only that you got to be concerned about the person that you're in a relationship with, you got to be concerned about your surroundings. Okay, I'm in a relationship with this individual, and the surroundings, you can have positive, you can have negative, energy in your surroundings. Now, which one, which route is your loved one going to take? Can they be easily influenced? You know, are they going to sway, towards the negative environment? Or are they going to sway towards a positive environment? And at that present time, you got to think about, okay, where are you at with how you feel about life in general? And I say life in general because, like I said, when you love someone, that's part of life. Loving unconditional is part of life. Loving yourself, that's part of life. Feeling unloved, that's part of life. And you'll have people that get into that, that may get into that stage that they may need that individual, or some individual, to get them back to the point where that, hey, you are loved, you are important, or whatever the case may be. It just might be that one thing that you need to hear. It might be that one person you want to see. It could be, it could be going back down memory lane, and it's something that you can touch, something that's going to remind you, yeah, apparently I am important, apparently I'm loved, and then apparently I did love somebody. So that is the thing that you have to, take into consideration when we're talking about love. Okay. Now, I want to kind of like hop into one of my other books. Let me see, put that right here, The Love I Thought I Knew. So here's the first books, or I say the first book that I wrote once I retired out of the military. Let me see, Carmen. I just realized you already have 6 books under your belt. Any advice on how to at least start writing your first book? Okay, that's a good question, Carmen. And yes, one of the things I've learned when it comes to writing a book. Now I'm gonna just be truthfully honest with you. I never even thought about writing a book, but like I said, I did, like I said, 32 years in the military, and like my last few years, we were sharing stories. Me and a couple other colleagues, we sharing stories. So, oh, sorry about that. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry about that. um, lost the leverage right there. Okay, so to get back what I was saying, what I did with some of my colleagues, what we did was we shared stories, and one of the things we did was when we shared our stories, we were saying, who are the people that's going to hear these stories or see these stories or whatever the case may be. So what we did was, we just, we grew a pack. We took everything that we say that we wanted to remember, and we always kept a pen and a pad with us. I always recommend people keep a pen and a pad, because anytime that you have a thought that you may want to share with people, you write it down. So with that being said, you put all those thoughts together, and then now you want to say, okay, now I think I'm ready to write a book. And then now you got to put all those thoughts in perspective. Okay. So even like this book here, Drinking from a Tainted Fountain, which was my first book that I wrote when I got out of the military. And as you can see right here, 30 years strong, long journey. I walked it. Drama, I dealt with it. Discrimination, I faced it. Serve a country, I achieved it. Blood, sweat, and tears, I gave it. So basically, I got 4 or 5 topics just right there, things that I can talk about. So I can share my story. Yeah, we deal with drama in our life, and people think they have it bad. So let me share my drama. People have dealt with discrimination. Let me share my my experiences with discrimination. So with that being said, that helps people that feel that they had it bad realize that they may have not had it bad. But in order for me to put all this together, like I said, I've always kept a pen and a pad with me, and it was just, I had a story that I wanted to tell. So once I got all my thoughts on paper, it was okay. So now I need to put it in perspective. What is it that I want to tell? Okay, so when it comes to dealing with discrimination, that's a whole topic in itself. Okay. when it came to serving my country, I could share experiences of what, falls under the category of, serving my country, whether, I was deployed, whether I was stateside, whether I protected the borders, or, saving lives, the whole 9 yards. So that was one of the things that I did when it came to writing, putting all my, my thoughts and, examples and stuff examples of experiences together. And I put it all on paper. And then once I wrote it down, I read it and I read it. I just wanted to make sure that it made sense, because I said, if I'm going to share this story, I want to be able to share a story that people are able to follow. So, but like I said, again, anybody that's just, thinking about writing a book, it's just a matter of getting all your thoughts, believing yourself that you can do it. And with that, you just, okay, now you're going on faith, and you say, okay, here's my story. So when it comes to, like I said, first you're introducing yourself. Like I introduced myself. I'm Donald Welch. This is my background, born in Cincinnati, Ohio. You're telling a little biography of yourself before you even get started, because now whatever type of story that you're writing, people can kind of like, piece the puzzle together. I may be saying that I'm from Cincinnati, but I might even throw something out there that, hey, you only hear about that in Cincinnati. Or even if it's just not that, you want to try to hit on topics that people can relate to, because we're all human and we've all dealt with obstacles in our life. So if you're sharing your obstacles, chances are the person that's reading to say, I can relate to that. Now the reading to that individual has just became interesting, because now it's like, when people have that thought process, you don't know my story, you don't know what I've been through. Now, boom, now they're reading a book that's actually as if they have already told that person, and that person is putting it in book format. So, but you got to think about, when you, like I said, again, when you're writing a book, you got to think about the things that that you experience in life, and you got to be able to, put it on paper, share your story. And a lot of the times you're sharing a story that you probably can help the next person. So with me being one of these individuals that like to, help people, contribute to the community in any way, shape, or form, I'm going, put my all into it. And I'm pretty sure that any story that I share, I'm going to probably either come across a few people that's probably either walk that same walk, and now they want to speak out. And even those that, even if they speak out, if they give you their feedback or their opinion, encourage that person, challenge that individual to say, hey, I would like to hear your story. Maybe, when you do, connect with that individual, chances are you opening that path to say, hey, this is a path that, if you want to, consider putting your story out there, you may want to follow this path. Now, even like I said, when I first did it, I thought with writing, drinking from a tainted fountain, I didn't think I was going to continue writing. But once I got the writing in here, I knew that, okay, even once I finished, it was like, that was much more that I had to tell. Okay. So what I did was, after I finished this one, I followed up with kind of a part 2 to this. It was kind of like, I explained what the situation is in Drinking from a Tainted Fountain. I got into detail in the next book, which was Alliances versus Collusions. Okay. And I actually have that book here. So, I mean, it's a smaller book, but it's kind of a follow-up to Drinking from a Tainted Fountain. Okay. See, sometimes silence is the best weapon. And on the back of each book, I have a slogan that I always put on there, as you can see right here. Live your life and love yourself. Only you can control you. Going back to what I was saying, you got to be able to love yourself. You have control of loving yourself. Nobody has control of loving you, because if you give somebody that control, then basically they're the puppet master, and then they're just gonna, they're gonna have you all over the place. And for the most part, if a person loves you unconditionally, they're going to help you along with your journey, especially when you got people that suffer, and the thing with that is, like I said, I was talking about before previously, you have people that suffer and they have problems, and sometimes you get people that's too proud about their problems. So when we have self-help books, that can actually help people that feel that they don't want to go to the doctor. And not saying that you're not, that you're too good to go to the doctor. It's just some people don't want to go to the doctor because some may not want to admit that, hey, there's a problem there. And, a lot of us have been guilty of that, I'm pretty sure. But at the same time, just because you want to get some type of therapy or something that's going to help you in the long run, that doesn't make you less of a person because you seek help. But even if you can get one of these self-help books and it helps you along the way and it works for you, then hey, bravo Zulu, because you've taken the step to help yourself, even if you just had to resort to self-help books. So, right, with that being said, that means you love yourself unconditionally. It goes back to like saying loving yourself first, because now you done picked up a self-help book and said, okay, I'm gonna give this a try. And if you start finding that happiness afterwards, then hey, maybe self-help is the only therapy you need. Okay, Christine, she said, I agree. Self-love first before loving others. Yes, you have to, because trying to love others without self-love, then guess what? You're really getting nowhere fast, because you can tell somebody I love them, and then as soon as they walk away, you think about what you just said to them. Now you have to think, what does that mean? You don't know what it means because you don't have the self-love within yourself. You got to always know some of the things that you say. You got to know, mean what you say what you mean. So if, just because I said it, do I mean it? But when you can love yourself first and understand loving yourself is very important, then you have a clear understanding and you know what it means. Okay. Because like I said, when it comes to unconditional love, we all look for it. We're human. We all look for it. We want somebody to love us to the moon and back, and if you get that individual that can do that and show that and express that, then every day that you wake up, more likely you're gonna have a smile on your face because you got exactly what you were looking for. Now, like I said, in the love I thought I knew, the man thought he had everything he was looking for. And it's not that he did anything wrong. It was just, they were not in tune. Okay. Let's see, Mark. Let's see, I agree. A book and sincere words can save lives. Keep sharing stories. Okay, I sure will. Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Mark. I sure will, because like I said, with me being in the military, like I said, 32 years, that's over half my life as it is. A lot of the experiences that I've, endured and, encountered, it was one of those things where I can say that I appreciate it because, like I said, again, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and that is not a, city where you find all military or anything. Military is there, but the presence is not like if you go to a place like California, Virginia, Florida, the places where, military is real, prominent. So when I joined the military, I looked at that commercial and I was excited. Yes, I want to do this, be all I can be, the whole 9 yards. And I stepped out on faith and I took that chance. With me taking that chance, that was the step that, led to my journey of the experiences that I've been, that I've endured, that I've encountered. And I can say that I do appreciate it. And, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Okay. So with that being said, I'm coming up close to the time that my session is about to end. So, a half hour seems like 3 to 5 minutes, and time does go by fast, but I know that we have other authors that's going to be sharing their stories as well. And, like I said, I'm slated from 5 to 5:30. So I got to make sure that, I wrap my time up. But before I go, I will share that, like I said, probably tomorrow, 5 to 5:30, same time, I'll go over some of my other books, just give like a brief description, kind of like a short story, synopsis. And also what I'll do is I'll show this real quick, not only that I'm writing books, I'm doing greeting cards, personalized greeting cards. Just want to show you one real quick. Like this was a one that that I did for a coworker, her little girl birthday, and personalize it. She was very excited and everything. As you can see, I do books. I do cards. I put pictures in it, and on the back of each one, I have a Bible verse, and it don't have to necessarily be a Bible verse. It can be whatever a person, prefers. Typically, what I'm doing is I'm touching a little bit on the poetry side. So a lot of these cards that I have, I may put a poem in there, and for the most part, I got some of the greatest feedback. And I can say one of my biggest sellers is Mother's Day. So I always tell people, Mother's Day is coming up. We all know it's in May, but we're in the month of January, great going to February. Before you know it, May will be here. Okay. I mean, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. I mean, you got these stores, they're filling up, candy, balloons, the whole 9 yards. So I suggest that if you plan on for Valentine's Day, get out there and get the things that you need to please your loved ones. But I will say the one thing about these cards, unlike the cards that's in the store, I'm not knocking any of them, but a lot of these cards, they're just standard. You don't find the words that you're looking for. So with me doing personalized, people doing these spring cleaning, they're not going to throw these away. They're going to hold on to these forever. Okay. I still get feedback from people, from people that I've made cards over 5 years ago. So it's a great feeling to me to know that they still have the cards. Okay. Well, it's my time, and I want to go ahead and close out. And I want to say thank everybody for tuning in, and I appreciate it. The support that I get from y'all. It warms my heart, and I'm extremely grateful that you did tune in. All right, I will see you tomorrow at 5. Y'all take care. Bye bye.